Okay, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on air. So we took a break, but we didn't. The conversation has been going on. There are a few things that have been said. I can't say them. They have to say them themselves. I'll give them that opportunity. So Governor Mwadime, you were saying something about what needs to be done to control this expenditure, but there are also concerns about what time and what it takes to get your money cleared.
No, I was trying to say, when my colleague was talking, that if we want to control, or rather say to mitigate this problem of expenditures in different counties, like what I'm doing in my place, we should introduce a standardized performance management tool, whereby if this standardized performance management tool is employed in all the counties in the country, that is, I think, the best time we can, because even at some stage, you know, all counties will be complaining on the same. If it is COB which is messing up, or if it is anything which is messing up, like what Dana was talking about, some of these functions which the money is not brought to the counties, it will come out very clearly.
Okay.
So I think we should invest some little money. The national government should spend some little money in all the counties in the country and install a standardized performance management tool. You know, performance management.
Are you able to do that at the Council of Governors yourselves?
No, we can do, but each county will have its own type. But you see, if it is standardized, it is...
That's what I'm saying. Isn't COG able to do that, spearhead that, so that it's applied across the country? Because if you now go back to the national government, aren't you subjecting yourself to the management by
either way,
state?
Either way, because, you know, I'm talking national government, because, you know, 85% of the money is with them. Okay,
all right. Governor Baraza, you have concerns about release of funds, because the Control of Budget has given a report and spoken about the lower absorption of development expenditure compared to recurrent expenditure, which performs quite well, over 80%, obviously, because those monthly charges that have to be paid. What is the real concern with getting your funds from the through the Control of Budget?
First, I want to highlight two main issues with regard to the release of funds. When you look at the last financial year, yes, we got all the funds, but the last two releases for the month of May and June, they came in very late in June. We had, of course, to push for an extension of closing IFMIS, because when you release money, it's like being given a crate of beer and then you're being told, can you clear this in 5 minutes? That's the kind of thing that's the situation. So we were not able to absorb all the money we received for the last financial year because there was no time. Then if IFMIS was only open for 7 days, we had requested for a minimum of 3 weeks. Okay. Now, so because of that time issue, a lot of the money had to be now rolled over to this financial year. That's number one. Number two, we've had some systematic delays by the Office of the Controller of Budget in approving requests to facilitate release of money from the county revenue funds to our facilities account. What Central Bank will do on the National Treasury, they'll release money to our CRF account. But now, before that money goes to the counties, the Control of Budget, having even had the approval at the initial stage at the counties, because that office has 47 coordinators in every county who approves requisitions. But unfortunately, those requisitions must again come to Nairobi for further scrutiny. That's where we find some bit of delay for almost 2 to 3 weeks.
What level of scrutiny, if that has already been processed by the COB?
That is now, that's now the paradox. And of course, what is the main issue here is duplication of roles. Because if you have an officer on site, he has actually, or she has reviewed the requisition, aligned the request to the budget, which had been approved by the Assembly, then the honorable thing to do is just to release that request electronically to Nairobi for the money to be released to the counties. So this idea of the fiscal intervention is where we have a problem, and we lose almost 2 to 3 weeks.
So when your officer leaves Kakamega County, comes to Nairobi, despite the paperwork in between, what are they coming to do exactly?
So ideally what they come to do is to follow up, because there is a further approval that is supposed to be done in Nairobi. That's where the problem is. And for us, even where we sit, we want that duplication to be cut off so that we don't have another intervention in Nairobi to review the requests which have already been reviewed at the county level by the officer.
Let's break it down, Governor, if you allow. The National Treasury releases funds to the CRF account.
Yes.
You make your request for a certain expenditure, quoting what you want to spend that money on.
Yes.
You send it to the control of budget.
First of all, the control of budget officer at the county. They look at it, they okay it. Ideally, that should be the person, after okaying, the request should come to Nairobi electronically. Yes. And the money is wired to the facilities account. But that's not the case.
So what happens after they have sent that?
So after they have sent, it does not just happen automatically. Somebody must follow up.
What does that follow up mean?
Following up means, because if you don't follow up, I'm telling you, you'll not get that requisition.
Sammy, what does that mean?
Sammy, can I
goes back.
Sammy,
no,
Sammy,
just hold it, Senator.
can I come in, because
Senator,
I happen to share. I happen to share one committee
Senator,
where
let me hear from Governor Baraza first. So follow up. What does that entail? What is that?
Okay, what it entails, I've had actually a conversation with my CECs of finance. They're like, when you don't follow up, they may have some questions or clarifications on your request. So if you are not there, it will not be processed. So the issue of following up is, if there's any clarification, then you'll be at hand to address it.
Senator, please hold it. Let me hear from Diana.
But the
thing is, it is not necessary. That's my point.
Sammy, I would want to disagree with Governor. I have my reasons, because I sit in the same committee he sits, and that's the budget committee in the Senate, and he is actually the chair of the budget team from the Council of Governors. The truth is very simple, Sammy. Look at the system and the structure that was created for CDF. How is CDF money spent? You do the budgeting, then the line item that you've budgeted for is given a code. That code is then taken to the financial institution that is going to receive the money from the IFMI system. In other words, the money goes directly to a specific item. They don't do that in their budgeting. The governor has a right to shift funds to wherever he wants at any one time. That is true.
Not very true.
No, that is true. That is the complexity that it has had, that after they make the requisition and the money is actually released by the Treasury to the CRF account, the reason why the controller of budget has to follow on that fund, and I'm not speaking for the controller of budget because we have asked them what the reason is. They say once the requisition has come, then they have to verify that actually what is in existence, in other words, the system, the way it is designed, does not then automatically adopt what they have put in terms of the requisition.
So you're saying...
But that verification, that verification is done by the coordinator of COB in the county.
So the essence is to have, just a minute, if we have Wakuja Road here in the studio, and money has been allocated, it is approved for that road,
and it was budgeted.
We paid for that road based on budget, right?
Yeah.
So what are the explanations do you have to give?
This is what happens now. When you get the money from CRF, what the controller of budget at the county level will do is to confirm that this requisition that you have put, was it in the budget? Right? Tick, 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 tick.
It's legitimate.
So after that, that's done at the county. Ideally, the money should be released because that officer at the county level has already verified that whatever you are requesting for is actually in the budget.
Okay. Diana, what are you dealing with here?
We are dealing with two things. One is just inefficient oversight mechanisms. because county budgets are approved by the county assembly.
Yes.
Once they are approved, they ought to be uploaded into the FMIS system. Now, here is another layer. Most of the county government, they installed an independent digital system. When there is no money, they cannot pay. So we are now looking at a process where we want to reintegrate the entire financial system for county and national government, because especially the vast and poor counties cannot run that particular process. But secondly, is the same thing of people not understanding that we are a devolved system of government and everything must come to Nairobi. That people with good eyes
Are in Nairobi.
are domiciled in Nairobi and not in the county. It's a fallacy. Because the only way oversight will... What is this that the people in Nairobi, and this is Treasury, because I also sat in meetings where I was like, oh my goodness, the controller of budget is devolved. So what are these people always doing in Nairobi? And apparently, it's a queuing system, physical. They keep moving seat. Nimefikiwa. So they're always around Harambee Avenue, Parliament, Holy Family Basilica, all the way, just there, waiting for their turn.
Every month.
Every month for a week. For a week. That's a very high level of inefficiency. For that to be happening, we must ultimately resolve it. If it is an issue of how we ensure that we ring fence county assembly budget to be respected by the governor for oversight to take place, that should be very doable. It's just a budget with codes and everything. When they vary, let us know. And whenever then there are delays, remember the national government is ready with their supplementary budget for expenses that were incurred in July. Yet the budget was approved in June. Like, how poor is our planning that we must change things already in July? Governor Barasa says the money for development has not come. They will start playing picky-ponky with their money and having to borrow from one basket to another. They take overdraft and all that. By the time you come to verify that file with the COB here in Nairobi after a month, the budget and the situation on the ground has significantly changed. That will mean you have to do a supplementary budget, special authorization, just inefficiency after inefficiency.
But when he say, when Senator...
Can I add a point to Diana?
Just, you will. Just like Senator Onyonka here says that there are instances where the governors or the county executives are rerouting resources. Have we witnessed that? And how do we cure that if at all?
Sami, that is the point I wanted to say, that what Diana didn't say is that now when that disconnect exists between the funds which were supposed to be in the budget and what the control of budget is actually interfacing, that is when these guys come now to bribe. They come and bribe in Nairobi so that whatever that they have broken the law with at the grassroots.
Bribe who?
To bribe the scenario. You know that what this Kenya is.
Sorry, to bribe who?
To bribe whoever that is supposed to release the funds quickly.
To me, maybe on a nutshell...
Just hold on. Are you talking about the control of budget?
Yes. Not her as a person, but whoever that is given the responsibility. In fact, one of the things I wanted to say is that, Sami...
Don't move so fast.
I'm not moving. I am just telling you. I am telling you, Sami, the truth is what Governor Baraza is talking about, the 3 weeks, is the period where there is an arrangement whereby certain individuals have to come to Nairobi to come and bribe for them to be given funds because of the mistakes which have been made at the grassroots.
How much is a bribe?
Depends on what the figure is.
A percentage?
You mean, Sam, you don't know these things? Ask him.
No, I don't
Laughing,
know. That's
ask
what I'm
him.
asking.
He'll tell you. Why are you acting like you are from Europe?
COB.
Why are you acting like you are from Europe?
Another role.
You are a Kenyan, Sam.
just make a clarification
These
here.
things are just
You know,
here.
Senator, I don't work for a county government, neither the control of budget.
Then I oversight the county government, so
All
I know
right.
the issues which are brought.
Which is fine. So
I think let me just
Governor,
clarify.
tell me, is it true that you are forced to bribe sometimes? How much is that?
I think the issue of a bribe has come from Senator Nyonga. What we need to be clear here is for us to have efficiency, we have to lay the facts bare. Honestly speaking, the Office of the Controller of Budget, we don't need somebody to come from Mashinani to Nairobi. We have been calling for total automation so that whatever the officer on the ground has verified, the budget items are clear, it is approved, we'll have no problem. Because we also have a responsibility on absorption.
Yeah, because auditors letter. That is the role. Sometimes they do the role of auditors.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, whatever what country assembly has approved, it has a letter on. Auditors will come. Yeah. So control of budget at times, they're taking the role of auditors.
They will not be doing audit of expenditure.
Okay, so Governor Mwadime, we need to say something here because there's an allegation that has been raised by Senator Nyonka, and it would not be fair we leave it hanging. Is it true that your officers are sometimes required to pay a bribe to get clearance from COB?
That one I've not yet confirmed yet, but it might, you know, if he oversees all the countries in the country.
And you had one of them.
All the counties in the country.
had one of
and
them,
you know, yeah. So
Sammy,
we'll go
there
and
you
find
go.
out more. But it might be true. This is Kenya. You never know.
Yeah, but it's not just the bribing. It's a super inefficient method because
it's a cartel based.
It's a problem created just to want to create inefficiency, allow room for corruption and misappropriation of expenditure. Because at the county level, many counties are also complaining. This is the first time that people and procurement entities at the counties have moved away from the CEC finance. CEC finance and governor work very closely.
Together.
Yet everybody within all the CECs must run their own budget. CECs complain, I think I sat with them when they were working on how to strengthen the public finance management system. And most of them were in shock. In your county, not finance, like the same problem they face with the COB. All CECs and chief officers face at the county level. So why are we holding resources when the budget clearly shows who should be incurring expenditure?
Thank you.
So it's a bigger problem that must be worked at all levels.
All right. Interesting. There are so many other concerns, including pending bills that continue to accumulate over 160 billion shillings now. The on-source revenue is not growing as they should. Now it's about, is it 37 billion shillings across the 47 counties? The improvement has been quite minimal. Governor Mwadime, what is the challenge now that we have counties not collecting as much as they were expected? Over the 10 years, there's not been any significant improvement. What's your particular concern in your county?
No, in my county, I can say there are many challenges. You know, at the moment, I can say my county is one of the small counties among the 7, which we say. That's why you see even yesterday when we were giving out ideas, we were saying that we should ensure, even senators, that all counties, they should get a minimum of 6 billion. You know, at the moment, I get about 4 billion thereabout. And you know, devolution was good when we started 2013, because there we didn't have ECDs, we built them. Where we didn't have health centers, we did them. But you see, as time goes by, we have to engage staff.
Right.
And you know, the money has not really changed between 2013 and now. And the staff, you know, they're increasing. And also, you know, there is that yearly increment of the staff, which the national government has not taken care of that. So it becomes very, in fact, I can say some of these counties which are getting about 4 billion and below, they might even devolution kill them completely. Because right now we're going to receive the money and pay salaries. You cannot do any single project. What remains is very little. So that's why we have to go and look money for development, good friends, development partners, and try in all corners to. Because the Mamamboga, like in my county, the government, since we got independence, it's not like Nairobi or other counties where you can find industries. In my county, I don't have even a single industry. That is one of the failures of since we got independence. In fact, even my young men are really suffering. Where I can get money.
And I see that actually, in your first year in office, the on-source revenue declined by 15.9% to settle at 262 million shillings. What exactly happened?
Yeah, it declined because, when you just go into politics as we are settling down, the employees I observed from the previous regime. In fact, it was the culture is very bad. That's now the time I'm trying to tame out that culture. People, they believe to work and make money. And you see, because the past regime, their leader, they have to follow what their leader was doing. That's why I've adapted so many. But
Governor Modi, you've been in
so
office
high
since August last year.
But right now, I've improved.
That's 13 months.
But right now, I've improved. If you see...
Just hold on, Governor. So you came in when the year was in its second month, meaning you've been governor for more than 10 months of that financial year. So you take responsibility, not your predecessor, really. But
right now, as I'm talking, we have increased. Because
you have not. It is 262 million shillings up to June 2023.
June 2023. I don't know where you're getting those figures.
Control of budget report.
Because what I know...
Which comes from your side.
After partially installing this digital revenue collection, I saw some few changes here and there. Though I'm still trying to deal with this stuff yet. You cannot just sack people just like that. You have to follow the due law. But there's a big change. But in a nutshell, I'm trying to diversify, moving out from the normal way of the revenue which we get from Mamamboga. We should look for other sources of the revenue, out of which it cannot be done for 6 or 1 year. But right now, you see the platform, like right now we have formed what we call Taita Taveta Investment Development Corporation. That's the platform I'm going to use to look for other revenues. But this one of Mamamboga, and you see Taita Taveta, for the last 4 years, we have not received good rains. We have not harvested.
What is the cost of running that Taita Taveta Development Corporation?
At the moment, it's when we are just reaching there, because we are trying to use the staff who are internally there.
The reason I'm asking that is when you compare the cost of collecting money versus the money you're collecting, how do they compare?
Sorry?
The cost of collecting money and the amount you eventually collect. Because if you collect 262 million shillings in an entire year, what is the cost of running the Taita Taveta Development Corporation to help you collect revenue?
No, Taita Taveta Investment Development Corporation, they will be on the side of investments.
Okay.
Like the resources which we have. It's where but not on the side of the revenue, the normal revenue which we collect for this one from Mamamboga, the liquors, what.
Okay.
No, it's a different entity completely. Just like the way President Suluhu, when she was the president of Tanzania, she said we should look for other sources of revenue. We should not look at the business as usual.
Okay.
So the business as usual, because right now, I'm telling you, the staff I got, they have very bad culture. And I'm trying to tame them as time goes by. And I'm just about to finalize. But Makiu, there's nothing which has, in fact, we have gone to worse. Taita Taveta, we normally depend on the rain because we have no industry, we have nothing. And the rains have not been there for the last 4 years. So, right now, as I'm talking, even the children themselves, the ones who have done very well, going to the university, it's difficult for them to go because the parents have no money.
Okay. You sound like you have a lot of challenges.
A lot. Yes, a lot of challenges.
Governor, sorry, I'll come back to you. Governor Baraza, I see there's a bit of improvement from 1.2 billion shillings in 21-22 to 1.3 billion shillings, but it's still short of the target because that was 67% of the target that you're hoping to achieve. what is the trick that is working for you, but also what are the challenges that you target to hit 2 billion shillings, yet you don't?
First and foremost, Kakamega County have very high potential on source revenue. Being a vast county with natural resources, we have the rainforest there, Kakamega Forest, we have some tourist attraction with the crying stone. We have a very special route called Mkombera that is quite something. So
I love drinking it. It's beautiful.
Very well. So on the side of revenue, the first thing I did is to automate the entire revenue collection exercise. And of course, that automation has been transitional because, you know, change management is not drastic. That's why the target of 2 billion we were not able to achieve because of the transition. There was some bit of training.
Right.
So we also bring on board new revenue officers, new points of sale. So I look at it as but in the longer term, like this financial year, I'm confident that you are going to achieve that target of 2 billion. And number two, we have also now gone into other revenue streams which had never been exploited. Like there is gold mining in Kakamega, although done at senior level. But we have specific programs of now commercializing that gold mining. It will be a big thing. With the 2010 70% revenue share, we're going to see a lot of improvements. I know the drop, or especially on cess, was because of our factories. Our sugar factories went down, like Momias has not been operating for some time. So that contributed a lot in a very big chunk of revenue source on cess being a reduction. But by and large, the system that we have put in place on automation, once we are fully automated, our target will be even surpassed, because there's a lot we're doing on Matatus.
What is that system that you're using? It's a
cashless system provided by Sense Networks. So ideally, the revenue collection, we are going cashless.
So you have like a revenue agency in your county?
The revenue agency is there.
Okay.
Kakamega Revenue Agency. And now we have brought on board a cashless revenue management system where people don't interact with cash because there's a lot of leakage on using cash. So with the cashless, of course, you're reducing the pilferage by almost 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is that cost? The cost of collecting?
Pardon?
The cost of collecting money?
Of course, first is the investment into the infrastructure. It costs almost 46 million.
Yeah, what's in your budget?
Yeah, so that is for me a cost of sale, which is not very expensive looking at the bigger picture.
Okay.
And is a capital investment, which for the next 3 or 4 years will be good enough.
Okay. Interesting. So I look at the trend analysis for your county. I mean, it's been increasing over the years since 2016, 2017, when you collected 449 million shillings. There was a dip in 2020 from 1.18 billion shillings to just slightly by a few millions. Then now you are on the upward trajectory. Senator Onyonka, what is it that counties can do so that this trend continues to rise? Because you look at the report of the control of budget, it's always 60-something% of the revenue target. The target this time, I think, was about 57 billion shillings, but they only got to 37 billion shillings. What is it that counties like Taita Taveta can do to strengthen?
But also, you should not take Taita Taveta. We are, 65% of our land is with the national park, and we don't get even a single coin. Though right now, the president has said anytime, and the infrastructure which is ongoing, maybe by next year, our revenue will go up, because now, whatever what they'll be collecting at the park, 50% will come to the national government and 50% to the county. And at the same time also...
The SAVO.
Yes, and also the royalties of minerals. We have been making a lot of noise. soon the government will start releasing those realities, though the story has gone too long. So some of these things are the ones which are going to maybe a game changer to some small county.
Thank you. I'm actually very happy that Honorable Mwadime, the governor, is seized of the issues which in the Senate, those are the issues we are discussing, and those are the things that we've been trying to persuade the head of state, that Taita Taveta on its own cannot pick itself up and move on. Why? I think the governor has already said they don't have a single factory, they don't employ people in terms of creating employment opportunities and industries and development per se, as a whole. But at the same time, Sami, my friend and governor of Taita Taveta and even His Excellency Honorable Baraza, they know that the issues which we've been raising for us, number one, the incoming governors normally do not realize that they are actually into a continuum process. So the reason why you notice on-source revenue is actually dipping is because when the outgoing governor was leaving, then the governor came in. Normally there is a period of about 3 months, 3 to 4 months, when there is actually no revenue being collected, there's nothing. And the wish and hope I would have is that our governors now need to realize that let them invest more on systems. Like what Honorable Baraza is saying, governor is saying, that he has set up a cashless system where the own source revenue is being collected by the county workers and everything. Even when, governor, you are doing that, we are also persuading you to make sure that, please, and I'm happy you mentioned it, and I think also my brother here has mentioned it, the employees who are there with your former governor are not the problem. Employees, so long as you talk with them and so long as you retrain them, they'll work with you. Because you see, we can't keep on firing employees as we come in. In other words, if Honorable Baraza took over from Oparanya, now should he then go back to Kakamega County and get rid of all the people who are working under Oparanya's government? No. We should be able to mitigate in such a manner that the employees whom we carry, those who are willing to work successfully with you, you carry them along. Number two, one of the issues that is very pertinent, according to me, county governments have never had an issue with the control of budget. What the issues are, as we speak, Sami, we must begin, and Madam Diana spoke about it. Can we begin interrogating what exactly we are doing from the budgeting, the allocation of the resources? We have been making noise about revenue, your revenue coming to the county, revenue from the exchequer. Revenue, I mean income releases from the exchequer. Now, from what Governor Baraza is talking about, I agree with you, Governor, that there is that period of 2 to 3 months, 3 weeks, which are reducing the pace at which you're supposed to receive the money and start implementing the projects. I would also like to make a request to you as governors that please don't change the vote heads from what you had in your budget, which then makes it impossible for the control of budget to actually automatically allow for the money to be spent. Now, Sami, that's an accounting principle. And this is actually what has been happening, that some governors, even when members of the county assemblies, like I've had a case, and it's not in Kisii, but we have a case from a county, I can't remember which one it is, that in fact, the governor produced a budget which was then released over to who? The controller budget. They did the programming and finished everything with the IFMI system, and we're waiting now for the vote heads for them to release the money. When they went to check on what actually had been uploaded, they found it was a totally different budget. So we have had such cases, whether it's by error of omission or commission. These are the reasons why you have had, and I'm not talking for the control of budget. I say this because I sit in the budget committee in the Senate. And we know the agony that governors have been, the pressure the governors have been having, and the pain that this whole thing about releasing money from the exchequer, salaries for the workers. I mean, we should never be there.
Okay.
But I will tell you something that for me, and given what Chair Barasa has talked about, I would love for us, Honorable Barasa, for us to sit with the Council of Governors and we sit with the control of budget. Let us agree how you receive your money. In other words, let's bring manners to the table.
All right.
The problem where we have these challenges, we have bad manners.
Okay, Senator, I hear you. Diana, Governor, you laugh. Diana, tell me, and I know we have had this conversation before about the on-source revenue. I mean, what's wrong? That 10 years, we still face these challenges. And I'm looking at the global picture, that the percentages are not changing. We're not growing that amount. And people keep saying that we need to get to a point where counties are beginning to get self-reliant. Well, that's sort of not accurate because the Constitution talks about sharing the revenue with the counties because it's being collected nationally. But what is it that can be done to enhance that, OSR?
Sam, you know my views on OSR. I really want to delve into how counties can grow their own source revenue because the bulk of own source revenue, other than rates and entertainment tax, all the rest is compliance. You're saying we need to ensure that we are protecting farmers, so we are imposing cess. You take that cess up, lorries divert and pass it on the rocks.
Back routes.
So you kill the compliance. I have given you the example of slaughters. You increase it, we will eat bad meat. So the rate and licenses at county level, the history of how they have been designed is largely for compliance, and we need to keep them at that. The fourth schedule of the Constitution, counties have 14 functions. National government has 35. Of the 35, at least 8 are just policy. So we can actually say 27 may be actual implementation versus 14. Counties receive 15%
Of the revenue.
of the revenue. 85 is retained at the national level. Money must follow functions. If you just look at this, we need to be at a minimum of 30 to 35% revenue going to counties. If we are to attain the architecture of our devolved, devolved system of government, let's think about Tana River and Taita Taveta. We want to increase revenue. All the cattle has died. What do you want us to tax? Burial of livestock. What else do you want counties to do to get to the same level? Where is equity? And most recently, just from a study here in Nairobi, Nairobi is a county that has a significant share of own sales revenue because it's the capital. From parking to business permit, it has a lot, even entertainment. All of us want to establish our entertainment joints here in Nairobi. But even there, traders, informal traders are saying, I cannot be paying for 14 licenses annually, and I am still paying tax. Because whenever CRA makes these proposals, I'm wondering, where is tax justice? It is the same person. And where we are saying those with more, please pay some more. What are we saying about marginalized counties? We must strike a balance. Counties like Kakamega that are very, very endowed go automation. But bottom line for how we resource counties is increase equitable share of revenue, not this continued decrease and hoarding of resources using old audit reports. Let's use the most current and let functions. Let resources follow functions.
And that's interesting that I should say that, but I'm also wondering, even if counties cannot exceed what they have, then why are they still setting higher targets than what is realistic? Because his county only scored 68% of the target.
That is something we must question increasingly from counties and from national government. We never attain our KRA targets, but we must do a very big budget and please ourselves that we are capable of having the biggest budget in East Africa. Immediately after,
You mean that's the motivation?
it is, no. Beyond that, you're budgeting for corruption, to steal.
Absolutely.
You must budget to steal. Yesterday, you had Council of Governors saying, look, you must now ring fence for us 20% of debt. Imagine we are fighting over debt. What is wrong with us? We are fighting over debt as a country. We must make very big budgets at the national level and at the county level.
Borrow. They're not fighting over debt. They want to borrow that 20%.
No. They are fighting over the budget cap and the anchors.
I think I need to clarify that.
At the county level, immediately they will set up a budget. Then will be told, you see, you have a very big deficit. How will you overcome it? Own sales revenue. At that point, they will be ambitious. Then they go back to the people, realize they are about to be impeached or recalled immediately. Then now they have to kowtow and get into shape of their budget. Our biggest problem is an expenditure problem. The minute we start planning for our money, we will resolve all these problems at county and national level.
You know, Diana, do you know who you're sitting to?
But
the only good thing is I am really the person.
But you cannot plan what you don't have. Like, for example, my colleague has said he can install this digital on 46 million. Toyota Taveta, where can they get 46 million? I personally, I've done it partial, but I'm trying to use our own stuff. We see it and then if
you're unable to achieve that target, why don't we just revise it down and be realistic with your own source revenue target?
You see, we are still, acclimatizing. But right now, that was the first year. But this year, financial year, things are going to change.
Okay, all right.
There's something I need to clarify about debt. The PFM Act is very clear about the sources of financing for county activities. Number one, of course, is equitable share. We have the own source revenue. And then debt is also a source of financing. And when you look at debt, this is borrowing for all Kenyans. What COG and governors were saying, why can't we as counties, for purposes of ensuring our brothers in Taita Taveta, Vihiga, the small counties also have money to put into development,
jump starting,
we must have a share of the public debt. So that when CRA is doing the revenue allocation, it is very clear that, yes, counties that also have development projects have X amount of money from the public debt, specifically ring-fenced for specific development projects. That's what you're saying. It is actually...
So 20% would be 2 trillion shillings.
Of course, you see, the thing is,
go with the current ceiling.
Debt, we're not talking about what has already been borrowed.
No, I'm saying, if the current ceiling is 10 trillion shillings, you want 20% to be set aside for the counties. That would be 2 trillion shillings. So you have a window to borrow up to 2 trillion shillings as the counties.
But it's already 47 counties.
Is what you are saying. Already, that debt has already been absorbed, right? Any new debt, for example, a Eurobond, for new expenditure or for new projects. What we are saying is counties must also be considered. Because you cannot say that as of now, the loan book standing at almost 10
over 10.25 years.
We take 20% of it. It's already been absorbed. It's going to SGR.
So if the government is getting, say, 2 billion shillings from the IMF, you want 20% of that to be for the counties.
Okay,
all right.
Could I say something?
No, I want us to transition because we're running out of time.
Senator, this is such an important point.
Quickly.
I have not seen what the report the Council of Governors have brought forward. But the question that I would really want to look at is very simple. Right now, Governor Baraza, county governments are receiving money for health, which is basically direct granting and which is basically money that is coming from external sources. What worries some of us is that even the money you are getting to do the hospitals, many of you are not doing anything about it. Many of you not implementing what this money is supposed to do. Why should I get me? I don't want to discuss the national government. That one is already in a mess. In fact, the government has already brought us to where we are in a mess. Now you guys are asking so that even you encourage the government to get into more debt, so that the debt they get, then they give you. And yet you've been getting money, this money which, when you look at the projects which have been done, some of you have done very wonderful work, but some have been a total failure. So where we are is this. Please give us a very good reason why you want us to give you that money. Because even the little you are getting right now, which is, I can tell you for sure, if you come to Kisii, Governor Ngwae did an excellent job. You look at the health facilities, mother-child care center, there are certain, you see what the county government, I don't know what my brother Mwadime has done, but what we are trying to say is, and I completely agree with what Diana is saying. Our problem is not that we don't have money. My brother Governor, Kenya in 10 years ago, we were having a revenue. By the time President Kibaki was coming into office, his budget was only 900 billion. We are at 10 trillion. And yet, what some of us are realizing, look at which vehicles the county governments are buying. V8s, all right?
Senator, I think I don't agree with you.
Wait, let me finish.
As a governor, I don't have even a county.
No, that's you. That is you.
I don't have even a vehicle.
Mheshimiwa Mwadime, that is you. But there are many other county governments, and I'm not talking about the county government on its own. Look at the national government. Look at when the president is going on a rally in Murang'a. Look at the V8s which are there. So this is not about you as governors. This is a question of, can we begin to look at prudence where we spend money carefully, and especially for our vulnerable. This is where we are. This is my point.
I agree with you on that one, but when you look at most of the projects in the counties, they're stalled. Why? Because the budgeting was ambitious. You budget, will collect. They were budgeting. They don't get it, right?
But I think what we are talking.
Please allow him to finish.
Because of that, some very good projects. For example, in Kakamega, we have a level 6 hospital.
Yes.
It's going to be the biggest hospital in the country if it's completed. 2.3 billion has already been put in there. It's at 80%. But because we don't have a vote.
What is the total cost of the hospital?
It is going to be around 3 billion, excluding equipping, because equipping is around another 3 billion, which we can go through at the leasing model. So but the point I'm trying to say here...
It will be close to 6 billion.
The point I'm trying to say here, very good projects, impactful, but the votes, the money you get from the equitable share is not even enough to complete those projects on time.
Okay.
I know when the project is delayed, it becomes more expensive.
Okay, so that's why...
And that's why
you need
some
a bit
development of specific allocation development will be useful.
But to me, I need that money, because as we are talking right now, I don't have even a county vehicle. Go outside, I'm using my own vehicle. We don't have money even to buy a vehicle. That's what I'm talking. It's serious.
Governor, you don't have an official car?
I don't have an official car as we are talking right now. I'm using my own car simply because the money we are getting is too little. We are trying now to build up so that I can get a car. Even my executives, they don't have cars, because the ones which we have already, all of them, you know, they are bad. So I'm telling some counties are really undergoing
to have money or Governor Barasa. If we worked within the monies that we have, and ensure that all our money for recurrent and for development
expenditure
is properly utilized. Already these budgets that are approved have recurrent and development expenditure. And when that is appropriated, it factors in both revenue from taxes, own source revenue, and a bit of debt. But, you know, by the time we are just thinking, let us borrow, debt has become the easiest money. It's the easiest type to do. You borrow, then you steal. Then we pay painfully.
Then we want borrow again.
Okay, all right. Now, governors, allow me, because we are running out of time, very quickly talk about the community health program. I mean, community health promoters program that is expected to be unveiled by the president. He's been speaking about 100,000 promoters across the country, 100 for... I mean, one promoter for every 100 homes. Governor Baraza, have you now resolved how many will be hired and how much they will be paid by the county and by the national government? Do you have a position as COG now?
Yeah, in fact, all this data came from COG. For example, in Kakamega, my CHPs are 4,250.
4,250.
We have been giving them a stipend of 2.5. Of course, the national government will also top up 2.5. Earlier, the conversation was that the national government will do it for 3 years, but I'm happy my brother senator here has said now it will be given as conditional grants to counties so that we now be responsible for sorting out the stipends. On the equipping is a good idea. These are the Madaktari Mashinani, Nyanjani. They have a lot of impact on the ground. So if we get support on the equipping from the national government, we are good to go.
The kits, you've already received the kits?
Yeah, the kits we've already received. Whatever was launched, of course, is in batches.
Okay.
They got some phones 2 months ago.
Yes.
Which again is one way of just enhancing and making sure that they're effective on the ground. So this is a program which we appreciate what national government is doing.
Yeah.
But on the side of the remuneration, fully it should be a county function.
So eventually, so that money will be sent to the county, then the county will be paying the 5,000 to...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Governor Modime, how many community health workers do you have as of now, and how are they transitioning into CHPs?
Yeah, it's, we have 1,369.
Already working?
We have already received. In fact, from yesterday, we've been trying to train some of our health workers on the equipment which we have just received. And we have already set aside about 41 million, though it's a really challenge to our county, but we have to find this 41 million, whatever what we should do. We have to get the 41 million. But actually, the national government on CHVs or health promoters is a really good step because, you know, after independence, there are 3 things we are fighting. It was education, and health. And you see, at least with these health promoters, in fact, this program used to be there in 1970s. And this government has revived it. So it's a...
So my question is, Governor Modime, are you hiring them now or they've been...
They have been there, though we have not been paying them because of this challenge of the financials.
Okay.
But right now, we are trying to, we have already set aside the budget.
So
with the supplement from the...
Your rate is also 2,500 shillings?
Yeah.
Okay.
You see 2,500 shillings.
In fact, just additionally, for purposes of making sure that we ring-fence all the health funds, Kakamega County has put in place what we call Facilities Improvement Funds, FIF, which I commissioned 2 months ago. And this, of course, will now ensure that all the funds collected from our health facilities are ring-fenced, not to be commingled with other revenues. It will focus, CHPs will never have any issues.
Yes.
So any health issues will be sorted out by funds from the FIF.
Okay. Yeah. And I wonder what that does to the bills that are in Parliament now, the 4 health bills, including the facilities improvement bill. How does that relate?
Of course, when you look at the spirit of what is in Parliament is to have efficiency. But as a county, since health is devolved 100%, I'm responsible for efficiency in my county. And that's why I didn't want to look at what is going on in the national government. My assembly was pragmatic enough to go ahead and approve these health services.
But that bill, once passed into law, it will affect also your county.
Could I come in? Because it's a bill we just passed in Turkana. And for the first time, it was a bill which was actually passed bipartisanly. We sat down as members of the opposition, and we had Majority Leader Cheriot and his team, and my Minority Leader, Honorable, the Senator from Kilifi, was very good. The whole team sat and they brought us. There was one outstanding issue that nearly collapsed the bill, and that is how much control do you give the national government in terms of managing the resources, and how many layers of administrations are you going to put? There were about 3. And finally we just said, look, like you said, can we take some of these departments and put them under the Ministry of Devolution? Let us make sure that is a director or somebody who's basically managing the disbursements to the county governments in terms of the amount of money they're getting, the trainings and all that, and including the improvements. all that was actually done extremely well, and we passed the bill in the week that we were there.
Okay.
I believe the president should be signing it anytime.
No, I thought it should go to the National Assembly for concurrence.
It will come to the national, and then the president will sign it.
All right, let's take a look at the feedback that has come to us at Citizen TV Kenya. Then Diana will have the final word in 20 seconds. What are Kenyans saying on Twitter? Or is it X? Okay, then, Diana, tell me, because as you wait for the feedback there, your closing remark about this entire conversation.
National Health Promoters Fund, a policy. I am still a bit lost. I need to read. I don't know, maybe I sit from where I sit. I don't know why county governments are okay with the national government purchasing the kits for them. This is a devolved function entirely from the stipend. And it's primary health care. We are not even talking referral. The most basic health care. What business does the national government have to do there? That calls for a grand launch, relaunch, another international day to relaunch.
And an after launch.
And an after launch that will also have very huge overspend of convoys. We will have catering, rice and stew. For what? For what? Already the medical services equipment mess is a scandal that we have had. It never even resolved the issues. A number of counties have machines that they will never build rooms to host.
They have
now
never used.
We cannot decide what type of bags are good for community health promoters in Kakamega who carry the packs on their heads, different from those of Mount Kenya who must carry them on their back, different from those who sling. That must be a national government. Surely, county government must sew up. We cannot defend devolution on your behalf always. Step up, step up. I don't know what is this obsession with hanging around the president. Please, county government, this is too basic to be going to the national government. The CS Health, work on policy. Primary health care is not your business. No way.
Kenyans, what are you saying this morning at Citizen TV Kenya? As Sam Gituku, the hashtag to use is daybreak. I'm waiting for that. To read it.
Sammy, you look shocked. That is the way. Apa inje ni kubaya bwana.
I am not shocked. I am reading the feedback. Babu Michael is saying, just hold it down, Senator. The ban on non-essential travel by the executive has been long overdue. It is sad they are doing it after spending millions of taxpayers' money while burdening Kenyans with taxes. It is a move in the right direction and should be done going forward. J. Musoma, reduction of foreign travel is good, but we should enact laws that limit what a percentage of our budget can be used on travel and hospitality, starting from the presidency and county executives. Why appropriate state house than a county government? Engineer Lazaro, not the kind of wastage in the name of benchmarkings must now be put under tight regulation. Some governors are under siege. You approve unnecessary benchmarkings in exchange for not being impeached by your MCAs.
True story.
And they laugh. Mogire Jasper says that government cost of travel, if done within the country, is good. Money stays within the country. What we need to curb is budgeted corruption that is almost 1 trillion shillings or 2 billion shillings a day, we were told. Also streamline our over 300 parastatals doing the same thing. And Oleshonko, good measure that is long overdue to curb those foreign trips, or hope and desires that the impact of foreign travel money will be seen. And Harry, counties have many pending bills, thus creating issues that are prone to poor development, wastage. Kudos to and thanks to the national government through Head of Public Service, Felix Kuskei, yesterday's circular on taming wastage on national county and county governments rather. And Gabi Wakasiaka. Corruption has now been devolved. The leaders are spending equal amount of money that can create a dispensary or even an ECDE class. Let's just pray for our leaders for change. Shall we budget for the prayers also? Thank you all. Senator Richard Onyonka, Governor Fernandez Baraza, Diana Gishengo, as well as Governor Andrew Mwadime Wakuja for making time for us to have this conversation. It continues, but for now we take a break. My name is Sam Gituku. See you again some other time.